Hello, quilters. I recently had the opportunity to interview Leanne Anderson and Kaytlyn Kuebler of The Whole Country Caboodle from Nashua, Iowa. This mother-daughter duo is so much fun, and their love of family, fabric, and creating whimsical characters shines through. They invited me into their creative workspace, gave me a complete tour, and answered all my questions. Our first question to get to know Leanne and Kaytlyn is, how long have you been designing patterns?
I've been designing patterns for 33 years. I started in 1992. Kate was 4 years old, and so I was actually, I think, younger than you are right now.
Wow.
When I started.
Yeah, I've been around the industry forever, as long as I've been born, pretty much, almost. But I started working with my mom in 2010. I was part-time here and then part-time doing graphic design in another job. And in 2019, I came full-time on with my mom. So I love working with her. We make a great team.
So how did you get your start in designing patterns?
Well, it kind of came at through some hard channels. I had a business prior to this where I did more of the finished items. I was doing, machine applique sweatshirts, denim shirts, coats, all this, and I had a couple of gals that were working for me. We were doing a lot of work, and I developed carpal tunnel. And so I had to stop doing what I was doing. I had surgery. I actually went to college as an art major and quickly fell out of that department and into the home economics department in business, not in education. And it just was it was kind of an easy transition. My husband had made the comment to me at the time, well, Leanne, if people like your finished things so well, why don't you sell your ideas? And that never, ever dawned on me. And so I really kind of have him to thank for even sparking that interest. I called around to some people that I thought might have some answers for me. I also learned very quickly that doors can be shut very quickly, or they can be opened pretty widely. And I took the information that I received, I used it to the best of my ability. I loaded up my merchandise and I flew to Portland, Oregon that spring, developed 18 patterns in less than 6 months, which was kind of insane. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the design process and with the quilt industry.
Here's a picture of Leanne at one of her first markets. Throughout the years, Leanne has been to many quilt markets. She has even won coveted awards for creativity and merchandising. Kaytlyn got her start by drawing pictures for her mom, and they are still decorating the studio to this day. I asked Kaytlyn how she got involved in the business.
I always liked being creative. People will kind of tease me, or like say when I was younger that, oh, you're going to work for your mom someday. And I really didn't think we would work together. I didn't know where I would fit in the business. I loved to draw when I was young, and then I kind of grew out of that. But I still always loved to create. Like my mom would get so frustrated with me when I was in high school because I would take forever. I would wait till the last minute to start a project. And it was a big project. And then it was like creative. So I wanted it to be the best and put so much time into it. And so I just always kind of loved that. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went to college. And so I went for nonprofit youth administration. I also loved that aspect of work. I loved being able to work with kids. And I think I was a senior, or going to be a senior. And I thought, I don't actually know what I want to do with this. And I needed some extra credits, and so I took a summer graphic design course, and I loved it. And then kind of fell into place where I was doing an internship for school at a local church, doing graphic design for their student ministry programs. And so they were able to then hire me part-time, and Mom's like, well, I'm sure I could offer you part-time hours as well. So yeah, I did that for 9 years, and then became full-time with Mom.
So I kind of gave her an ultimatum. I said, Katie, you
yeah,
either go full-time with me.
I can't split myself anymore. But it was really cool. I had the opportunity to work with the fabric company, Henry Glass Fabrics in New York City in 2012. It was at a quilt market, and our design director was like, I would love to teach you everything I know. And I was like, I don't know how you're going to do that. I live in Iowa. You live in New Jersey and work in New York. And She's like, well, I bet we could get you an internship. So, I mean, talk about an opportunity of a lifetime. I was only there for a month, but it was so amazing. I feel like one of the main things I learned was just kind of how to love myself and how to be confident and be independent. I feel like I struggled with that before, and so that was huge. And I learned a lot about fabric stuff too.
The whole country Caboodle is known for their whimsical characters and fun designs for everyday living and decorating. They have designs for quilts, pillows, wall hangings, stockings, bags, canister covers, and more. I asked them where their inspiration for their designs come from.
Well, I think Kate and I both would say that we want to give credit where credit's due, and Kate and I both have a strong faith. We feel that our abilities are God-given, and so we do want to give credit there that He's given us these abilities, and we get to give back. That what a privilege that is. We use things like our family for inspiration. I have 11 grandchildren, and who doesn't love to see kids with fun quilts and different things. We use life situation, or just my parents owned a resort in Canada, and so my Northwoods Adventures, Cabin by the Lake,
S'more Fun Outdoors.
S'more Fun Outdoors. Those are all, the love that I had for the outdoors. Kate, what do you think?
I'd say family too. And then a few years ago, we did a baby line, and I was expecting a baby, so that was super fun to kind of design what I thought would be cute to have in my nursery. We might get ideas from the fabric company, and then we run with those. Mm-hmm. But we're not big. I wouldn't say we don't really follow trends. We have our own style. We have our own whimsical look. And so that's a huge inspiration too of what is unique to us. And Mom hand draws all of our art, and then I digitize it on the computer and add the color. And
great team. I always like to say that she takes what I do and makes it look 1,000 times better.
But I couldn't do it without her.
No. So we're a perfect team.
Pictures of Leanne's parents, kids, and grandchildren are always close by. Items that have been passed down from family members decorate their workspace. Leanne's brother Terry made the lamp out of an old sewing machine. The little tin next to the lamp was a button box belonging to her husband's grandmother Lillian. The 3-drawer unit and small sewing machine belonged to her grandmother Ethel. One of the tomato pin cushions was the first one she used when she was learning to sew. The other one belonged to her grandmother. The absolutely gorgeous quilt pieces that were added to this cupboard were made by a great-grandmother of one of her son-in-laws. Her husband bought her this featherweight on one of their trips to Paducah. How long have you both been designing fabric?
I started in 1994 designing fabric for a company. I've been with 2 different companies, and so I had a good longevity with both of them. They were both great companies. We currently design for Henry Glass Fabrics, and they couldn't be any better to us. Kind of give us freedom to do what we want to do.
But I mean, if anyone checks out our website, you might not know, but we are animal lovers. We have an extensive collection of dogs, and so we have a brand new dog fabric collection that's shipping in June. And then we're going to be doing cats for all the cat people. So we always know if we're going to do a dog line, then we're going to follow that up with a cat line. Or if we have just a regular critter line, then it's going to be something. And so, yeah.
From the time I was a little girl, there used to be these little ads in the back of a magazine. And it'd be, draw Winky the deer and send it in to win, a scholarship. Well, I can't say that I ever won the scholarships, but I started drawing characters at a very early age. And that's where my love is drawing the funny little, almost cartoon-looking characters. I still have my original draw and learn light table. Don't know how I've been able to keep it all these years.
And it still works, right?
And it still works.
Right. I'd say, let's maybe talk about the Caboodle canisters. I mean, you had...
Yeah, I had the idea at the end of last year, end of 2024, we're always kind of looking ahead at the next, H&H or quilt market. And we've gotten into doing some monthly projects. I wouldn't call them blocks of the month because they aren't necessarily quilts. They're projects of the month. And they've been very successful for us. And so my brain is always kind of looking at the next thing. What could we do next? What could we do that's different yet uses our appliques? Our laser pre-cuts are the biggest part of our business. And so that's where I came up with the idea of doing a Caboodle canister cozy. And yeah, that started at the beginning of the year. So then it's to the drawing board because every month you have to have one. Mm-hmm. And so I started drawing them out, stitching them out. Then your part of it, Kate, is...
Then I take her drawings and I set them up in Illustrator to create the layouts, and then all the pieces we do laser cutting on our laser machines. So I have to set up all those sheets to cut out all the pieces, and then once Mom gets the pieces, then she makes all the models. But we had an added aspect of this of setting them up for embroidery. This time machine applique embroidery. So I worked with Chris Thurgood of my girlfriend's quilt shop, and so Mom would send photos to her, and I would send her the files to then digitize all of them. And it's really cool because she digitized them with our laser pre-cut appliques, and so it's not the cut and stitch method, it's with our laser appliques, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And so then we were able to get like a different kind of stitches. Mom's favorite stitch is the
blanket stitch.
And we wanted to be able to do the embroidery with that. And so we'll show you the comparison between the sewing machine version and the embroidery version. They're so close, which is what we wanted.
Yep.
We didn't want you to be
Needless
able
to
really
say, it's
see.
been a labor of love.
It's been a labor of love, but it's been a hard push. It's still kind of in the pre-order process, but they're all designed, and then now it's on me to get the pattern set up to sell. So
from start to finish, it can be
6 months to a year.
Yeah, I would say. Now a fabric line, that's even longer. From the time we start on a concept, we work up the artwork. By the time Kaytlyn gets it done, most of them, they're just about ready because she lays it all out, sets up the repeat.
Yeah.
Some of the shading we have done by our design director out in New York, but that can be a year to a year and a half.
Right, for sure, before we see goods.
Yep. Yep. So it's a long process. It's like we get fabric and it's like, oh yeah,
I know.
I forgot about that.
Or it's like, oh, I forgot that I designed that project for it. Something that's kind of cool is that I don't enjoy to sew, but I enjoy and I love designing quilts and projects. I just don't ever have the desire to make them.
Yeah.
Mom taught me, but I just don't want to do it. So.
Well, and along with every fabric collection, we do a line of laser pre-cuts. And so we design projects for the pieced quilts using, we do a lot of panels. Then we also design projects using the appliques. So all of that has to be written and, illustrations and all that. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Their work is definitely a collaborative effort. All of their patterns are designed and printed on site. They've invested in the proper equipment to do the job right. The laser cutting aspect of their business was fascinating to me. I love learning about the whole process of getting the pieces cut. First, the heat and bond light is applied to the wrong side of fat quarter-size pieces of fabric. It's an ongoing process to get all the pieces cut for their wide variety of patterns. Leanne explained the whole process to me.
The laser cutters, we cut one sheet of fabric at a time. So they get these machines going when we have large orders. We'll have them, all going. They all have to be vented outside because there's an exhaust that's with it. So you've got to have that vented outside. And then this right down here, Shelley, is a water cooler. And so there's a water line that goes up through and it cools the bulb.
Tube or
something? The light tube that's in the back because, a laser is a fire. And so it's really a cool system. We've learned a lot.
So I set this up, I'll pull it up. So when I was saying, we design the fabric and then we do the appliques, I then set it up to cut. So these are going to be one tree. So if there's multiple things that are cut out of the same color, I do all in like either a box. So then you have to have little tick marks to make sure they don't fly out of the little box. The red line around it means that that's going to cut after I've cut all the inside pieces. So then the red line will cut.
Thanks, Cindy.
So this can be kind of time consuming to set up, but it's really nice when it's done. You just pull it up through the file. I push the little button that it needs to go to another program that the laser is set up in. People would get the little pieces. We'd have all those little pieces we were putting into a kit, so now it's just one large piece instead of having all these tiny little pieces to fly around. And then you push send in the machine and it sends over and it cuts.
About how long does it take to cut out a sheet?
Depends on how intricate it is. This one's pretty intricate, so it probably will take 8 minutes or more. Some of them take 30 seconds.
And then, Shelley, if you want to look here, what the girls do then, once we get all of the pieces cut, is they assemble, usually by putting the largest piece down first, because we like for the customer to be able to see everything. So then they just kind of keep putting one piece on top of the other. Some of them have notions, and then the pattern and the layout is all included in there, and then they bag them.
Let me just take the little pieces out of there and stack them all up.
These are all finished.
So with our Home is Where the Dog Is fabric line, these are going to be great projects. We have over 100 different dog breeds. So great to use in your projects.
And if we have a dog breed that is your dog, but you need a different color, we are happy to cut a different color for you. As you can see, it takes a huge amount of organization with all of this. So the gals really have it organized very, very well.
I love what you've done over here behind you.
Yeah.
We used to have them on, you just continue to evolve and grow. We used to have them on the bolts.
The bolt cardboard.
Yep.
And we'd pull that out, and constantly pieces were falling off, this and that. So like this happens to be a Christmas truck mug rug. And so they would pull this out, and inside of it then we have the pieces pre-cut for them to assemble the kits. And then they'd pull the applique that goes with it, and then they put those kits together. So that's when we get, bigger orders. They're either full kits where, like, these are little mug rug kits. And so this would come everything that you would need to make this little chocolate bunny mug rug. And you'd get your batting, the backing, the stabilizer, all the fabric, applique laser cut, notions. There's rickrack in this one. If there's buttons, the buttons are included. So everything's included in those. We have a lot of different styles of the mug rug. This is called Wrapped with Words. This is the love pillow. And so if you get one of our kits with that, literally you get everything but the pillow form. So you get the foam to make the wrap. You get the fabric to make the pillow cover. You get the fabric to put on the wrap. The laser pre-cut, not only for the love, the letters, but also then for the border that goes on each side of the wrap. So you just have to buy a pillow form. That's what all of these are. And then over here, these are the program called Wrapped in Love. So there's one for every month. And you can change up your decorating just little bits by just with the little wrap on the pillow. These are more kits. We've got, stock inventory of boxes and everything back here. And then, Shelley, over here, we have what we sell, our pre-cut packs would be the 2x2 applique quilt. So this would be then a pre-cut pack that would have all of these pre-cuts in it. So if you want to make the quilt, we also we have a fabric pack, but you can get just the appliques and then use your own fabric.
I was impressed by the amazing assortment of projects and pre-cut applique kits available. There's absolutely something for everyone here. Everything was so well organized, and they have a lot of fabric.
Lots of fabric. Who wants to buy fabric?
My husband lost his workbench. Well, he's got a workbench back there.
Don't
but
look at it. It needs some
a mess.
good organizational help back there. Don't feel bad for him.
No.
He has a massive shed,
He has
two
a shed.
sheds, and yeah.
My next question was how many patterns and fabric lines they have designed.
Great question.
Patterns, we are well over 500. And that doesn't include like the free project patterns that we have
Right.
done with the fabric company.
We're doing 2 free projects with every collection.
Yeah, and you know, I tried to count. It's so hard because, you know, for years, I was maybe putting out 6 collections a year. So I would say 100 and some
Hundreds
of
fabric lines.
fabric lines. Yeah.
Then I started designing fabric with her then in 2010. That was our first line together.
Which was called.
In cahoots.
Sometimes that's the hardest part, is trying to figure out what to name them.
But these are all when a quilt shop sees a fabric line. This was S'more Fun Outdoors from a few years ago. These are called color cards. So you see all the panels, you see the projects that we design, and all the prints, another project. Here's all of our laser pre-cut appliques that we did for this line. So then the quilt shops get to see all the prints. So we have lots. Do we have the dog one? This one was a newer one we had called 2x2.
Do you still have some of these fabrics?
Yes.
Oh yes, all of them.
This one just shipped.
Yeah, and then we have a dog
last year.
collection coming out in June called Home is Where the Dog Is Too.
So this pile represents a great number of fabrics.
Yes. Many years.
A lot of work.
Many years of fabrics.
Yep.
Sports, cats, dogs,
A little bit of everything.
everything.
Awesome.
I think mine are the designs we do like for fabric for children. Just think it's so fun, and I feel like I dive back into when I was a child and can dig into that part of my imagination. I had a very wild imagination. I think my siblings thought I was a little crazy. I had a best friend whose name was also Kaytlyn, and we were our brains were not normal. Like we were out there, but I loved it. And I think that helps me a lot when we're designing. We did a line called Next Stop is Home, and it was kind of a rescue animal line. And Mom drew a rabbit riding on a bicycle. And I'm like, well, the rabbit's legs can't reach the pedals. So what is pedaling the bike is a hamster wheel with a little hamster. And so that's what I love to do, is try to really, sometimes it takes me a long time, and Mom, tries to be patient with me of like, it's good enough, like it's fine, I'm like, it's not great yet. But I think just being able to dig deep into my vaults of like my childhood imagination is really cool. And I think my daughter's really gonna help with that too.
Kaytlyn and I are coming out with a collection called Silly Gilly Returns. And we did this collection, it was our second collection that we did. That was when Kaytlyn brought me into the electric fabrics, color-wise. I was more darks, and these we're talking neon colors. And Silly Gilly was my oldest grandson's imaginary friend. And so for some reason, his mom also had an imaginary friend. That family, they have these little friends, and we took that then and did this little monster collection. And that was just, to me, so much fun to be able to bring those characters, those little monsters, to life, as to thinking they might have been some of Toby's other little friends, When I found out I was going to be a grandma for the first time, I wrote a prayer that was around the panel of these little characters that we did. And we brought that same prayer back into Our Greatest Gift. And it was, to me, that's a huge blessing to be able to bring in something that's so personal, to be able to share that with other people.
How many children do you have?
I have 3. Yeah, my oldest is a physical therapist, and her husband works music ministries at Orchard Hill Church in Cedar Falls. My son is a high school principal in Denver, and his wife is a teacher. And then Kaytlyn and her husband Joe, and he works at John Deere. So between them, I have 8 grandchildren, but then we have a foreign exchange daughter that lives in the Chicago area. She has 3 children, and they call us Grandma and Grandpa, so we consider them our bonus grandchildren.
Yeah, so I have a daughter and she's about to be 2 in July, and it's just the most fun. And then we have a dog, her name is Rory.
And they
Little
come to the
black
shop. Rory comes any day that Kaytlyn comes,
Yep.
but Elise comes at least one day, so we get to spend a little time with her too, which is a huge blessing.
We have to have her in the shop because I grew up
Yeah.
around the business, so she gets 1 day a week. we can't quite handle her the
You
whole
started
week.
stuffing patterns, I think, when you were 5, didn't you?
Probably.
When she could take instruction of this goes on this,
Yep.
this goes here, and then try to maneuver that into a Ziploc bag.
And then zip it. They taught us what it was to work hard and then play hard. So
They have a newer building they call the Janney Shack. This building is used for fabric storage, kit cutting, photography, and video filming. It's a beautiful space for filming and to see their trunk show.
This is the prayer that I was talking about that I reused on this milestone blanket. So,
and then we have in the pattern a little square you make to put around the month, and then your baby lays in there.
Very cute.
So this is the first collection. Gotta open it. I need help.
this was actually a collection that I had submitted to the first fabric company that I was designing for, and they didn't think that it would be that good. And so I resubmitted it to the new fabric company that I was with, and it did really, really well. So this is called Noah and Company.
Yep.
First group that I did with Henry Glass Fabrics back in the 90s. No,
2016.
2016, sorry.
The 90s.
Whoops.
So then we did 2x2.
So then this one, actually we did 2x2 previous to that.
Yes.
This is the second time we came out with it, and we did some new things like a book and new prints. It was a ton of fun.
Fun word print on the back.
Love the way that came out, just the different colors. It's soft. This is actually one of the newest collections. In fact, it's not even out yet. It will be delivered in June, called Home is Where the Dog Is Too. It too is a collection that we had done previously, and because we've been around as long as we have the benefit of coming back with some older groups. This one we added the book panel to. If you know our work, you know we love the little book panels, and we do a lot of panels. And this one
was fun because we were able to use all of our dog names, all of our friends' dogs' names, and yeah, it was really fun to make.
It was. This showcases then some of our applique dogs. There's several that are new in this and some that were a little older. Of course, our dogs are in there.
Oh, yes.
Kate's got Rory, he's a black lab, and I have a little Boston that's named Leo. It's a pretty easy quilt. You could switch out those dogs. You could put dogs and cats or whatever critter you wanted to have on there. But this is the applique portion of the quilt. So we try to have good representation of the different animals. There's the ark with the dove, Noah. Yeah. Keep in mind, all these appliques can be used on other things, and we'll show you some projects that, you know, once you get an applique, you can use it on a multitude of different projects.
And this was from our Greatest Gift one. The cool version, we also have a warm version that has some more rusts and peaches. So this was using our little block panel.
And the patterns for all of these, of course, are on our website. This is one of our newest projects called Caboodle Canister Cozies. This is actually not available quite yet. We launched it at H&H, and we are in the process of not only having it available as sewing machine version, but we also have an embroidery machine version. So those of you who love to do the embroidery work, we will have this available early, probably fall.
Yep.
Right, Kate? Aren't we talking September, October that everything will be available? So we're real excited about that.
Super fun little lid. What did we say? We have a sweater for the jar and a hat for the lid.
Something like that.
So these ones have been done on the embroidery machine and using our laser pre-cuts.
And then, let's see, here's a couple of them that I actually did. I love to show, you want to show those, Kate?
Oh, yeah.
I love to show these side by side, you know, the difference. So this one is the one I did. This is the one that the embroidery gal did, and I think they're pretty darn close. So we're so excited to get going in this.
These are called our border stripe bags. Mom had done the Born to Roar one years ago, and we just never had the pattern take off. But then when we did the sports line, Isle of Sports, we thought we needed a large, we call it the tailgate tote. So this is just a great way to use all your border stripes in your shops, in your house.
This bag calls for 3/4 of a yard. So, you know, you, like Kate said, you've got those smaller pieces, the quilt shop, smaller pieces. This one, just a scrap practically.
We put a canister in this one. Put your snacks in there.
I think they're super cute. And the fun thing about them too is on some of these I used diffusible foam, on others I used soft and stable. You know, it's fun to kind of bring them to life, the characters to life too, just by quilting around them. I did a lot of just kind of 1/4-inch stitching around them. I stitched, you know, the straight lines of the border stripe. They really are quite easy.
But we had another bag pattern. They were called our stadium bags. When we did our sports line, we came out with a fanny pack. So this one could either be cross shoulder, or we have in the pattern written to be a little fanny pack, horizontal or vertical. And at the games that you go to, sometimes you have to have a clear bag, or this is the size of a lot of places too, like a 4x6 size little bag. So we have in the pattern, the whole alphabet is included in case you're not from Iowa. Or if you like Iowa State and you want different colors. And then we did the other clear
version.
bag.
Yep.
So those are the stadium bags.
And so a couple of our other projects that we have, one is called Wrapped in Love, and there is a wrap for every month. So you can get it as a pattern, you can get it as a kit. These are actually a little towel, little homespun towel that we used as the pillow cover, and then the wrap has the applique design. It's a simple little design that simply Velcros around it. And those, like I said, they have one for each month. This is called Wrapped with Words. And it is exactly that. Every month there is a specific word that's for that month, and then the design that goes with that. This is kind of a cool thing that we did is this is the wrap, pretty simple, and then the pillow is actually, we use the same fabric through the center of the pillow, and that is the placement line for the trim. These are all laser pre-cut, so all you do is take the backing paper off, put them on there, iron them on, and they're ready to stitch.
Use them. We have some more of simple project sheets. These are some stockings where we have a lot of gnomes. We have other little critters. You can put those on stockings.
Of canister cozies. Think of any anything that you might have laying around even that you can put something around. Keep in mind it needs to be straight up and down, not tapered. It's harder to put something around something that's tapered, but you can do a canister cover on just about anything. These are actually just little tubs, the little baskets, and we make a little,
Panel.
yeah, you just either Velcro or you can use the Gorilla Tape. We have bucket buddies. This is an ice cream pail, and it has just a little wrap that goes around it. The lid, wouldn't your child or grandchildren love to bring that to go trick-or-treating? So that uses an ice cream pail.
These are our doggy hot pads. So pretty cute. Again, you could use any applique you want on here if you're not into gnomes. These were cute. They had cute little legs that went with them.
These are all of the colors in our basic, Starry Basic line.
We have 4 lines of basics, which we can show. They're off to, they're right behind us too.
These are our houndstooth colors. We've got jelly roll packs of both of them as well. We also have thread packs that we have done with Wonderfill, and we have a couple of boxes that we put together when we did the Born to Roar, but then we decided just to do a pack that really kind of covers a lot of our different fabrics and colorations. So that can be used with applique.
4 lines of basics. We have bias plaid, bubble dot, that those each have 12 colors. And then starry basics and our houndstooth basics. We might not have all of them shown, but you can see we have a good mix of lights and darks, and we like to use these prints in all of our projects so that they coordinate together and just blend really well. So you are in our video room in a building we call the Janney Shack, named after my grandma, Jan. You can share a little bit about her if you want.
Mom worked with me for about 12 years, and she practically folded every single pattern that came through here. She assembled, if you remember back in the day, I did these little checkerboard boxes, and then we went to polka dot boxes. My mother would have been the one.
Caboodle in a box.
Yes, to assemble all of those. And so my mom passed away a couple years ago, and I took a little bit of money that she left me, and I told my husband, I said, I want to do something to honor my mom. And so we have a fair amount of property around here. We needed a little more space, and so we built this building. And like Kaytlyn said, we call it the Janney Shack. And so it just, I feel her when I'm here.
Yep.
She's always with us, and she would be so proud to know that we've done this to honor her.
Yep, so we do video work in here. I take all the photos in here. We set up, before we go to a quilt show, we move everything from one wall. We set up tables. We're able to set up our whole booth in this room, which is really nice. Then it makes setup still goes slow, but it goes a lot faster if we had to figure it all out as we went.
Yep.
So storage, so we have, you're in the video space now, and then in the other space is where my dad cuts lots of fabric for our larger kits, and storage. We always just need a lot of storage.
Or lots of
We
fabric.
have a lot of fabric. Something that was kind of funny is the owner of the fabric company was here last summer, and he saw all the fabric we had. He goes, just so you know, we don't take that back. We don't take returns. We're like, yeah, we know.
We always joked that I graduated from high school and my mom and dad moved out of the country. I don't know if that was an indication that they wanted to get away from me, but that was a dream that my parents always had. I think one of the reasons that I went into business is because of them. And so they were looking for a resort in northern Minnesota, couldn't find what they wanted. My folks did a lot of repurposing and fixing up. They were kind of the original house flippers before it was, known on television. And they wanted to buy kind of a fixer-upper camp and build it into something beautiful, and they did. They found a resort up in the Clearwater Pipestone chain of lakes. And they were there for 15 years, completely rebuilt and brought it back to the original state. They were all original log cabins. And it actually was a great place to spend my summers from the time I was a freshman in college until my husband and I went there with the kids every summer and just spent a lot of time there. So
It's called Trails End Lodge.
Yep. A lot of my Northwoods inspiration, like I said, came from there. We used to go to the dump just to see the black bears.
Yeah, I had to see the bears.
And of course we had bears that wandered into the camp and skunks and all kinds of critters. But yeah, it was a beautiful place, and I'm very grateful to have had the time to spend there. This was the original collection that I did. This probably was in the early 90s, Kate.
This is old. Oops.
This is called Northwoods Adventure, and this group was actually licensed into a set of dishes that were sold.
Dishes
for,
and sheets and blankets.
yeah. So, you know, it's kind of fun when you see your artwork licensed into other areas.
Now it's time for some tough questions. It's the lightning round.
Fall.
Spring and fall. Lake.
Mountains. Dog.
Dog. Younger.
And Gilmore Girls.
Oh, Gilmore Girls.
I named my
Very
dog
good.
after Rory from
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls. Loved the Gilmore Girls.
Yep. Cake.
Cake.
White on white. Red.
Green.
Christmas.
Christmas. Talk.
Talk.
City or small town?
Small town.
Small town. But it's nice to visit the big cities.
Yes. Yes.
Salty. Chips. Popcorn.
Same. Cashews.
Yeah.
Cookie dough.
Oh, I got a strawberry shake. I love that. Night owl.
I used to be a night owl.
Same. Then I had a baby, and now I'm more of a morning
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. So just depends on the day, maybe.
Saturday, because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It'll just be fun.
I would say probably Saturday, hanging out with friends. I mean, I like some pretty hard rock music.
That did surprise my husband when I told him that. I love cleaning and organizing, and
I don't know where she gets it.
This is something- this is
yes,
good.
This one's a good one.
people may not know this about us, is that Mom has all of her bridesmaids dresses from way back in the day. So
The 70s.
we will, if we're going to have a stressful time of cleaning something in Mom's house and organizing something around the acreage here, we have been known to put on said dresses and go crazy and dance and listen to music, and we just laugh a ton, and it makes the really hard jobs a lot better.
Yes, along with said jewelry that came from
Yes.
that vintage as well, along with said hats.
Yeah,
Yep. And
we've done that.
sometimes very bright colored lipstick.
Right.
Many people
I don't think we
know.
have digital photos of that, so you can't.
No.
You cannot track those down.
You gotta have fun.
Yeah, we like to have fun. Yeah, so you can find us on social media. We have YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and it's just at The Whole Country Caboodle. And then our website is thewholecountrycaboodle.com, and email is info@thewholecountrycaboodle.
Leanne and Kaytlyn will also be featured in a magazine article in Where Women Create, out now, available at Barnes & Noble. I had a great time getting to know Leanne and Kaytlyn, and I hope you enjoyed the interview. We hope you remember to hit the like button, leave a comment for us, share with your quilting friends, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and happy quilting!